Hi, everybody. Welcome to Next Media. I'm Mike Shields. I have two guests this week from YouTube. Nicky Retke, she's the VP of Product Management for YouTube Ads, and Tara Wilbert Levy, who is the Vice President of the Americas. Hey, hi, folks. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having us. It's great to be here.
Yeah, excited to do this. I'll start with you, Nicky, but feel free to both of you to kind of jump back and forth here. I want to just kind of take a look at YouTube's big emergence as a huge CTV player in the last couple of years. Can you point to any, I always wonder how much of that was driven by a plan or a strategy versus just the users leading you in that direction? Like, was there a big product decision, a distribution shift, or a shift in user behavior that led to that growth? All of the above. What was that like?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, YouTube just turned 19. I've actually been along for the ride for the past 13 years. So I've had a front row seat to how video creation and consumption has evolved. And there have been multiple shifts. First the shift from web to mobile, and now this era of streaming. We've seen also consumption change in terms of what people are watching. It's not just long form content anymore. It's a mix of long form and shorts and live and music and podcasts and all the rest. So yeah, I think that, what's led this big, the shift and recently the surge in YouTube in the living room is just the content that we have. I think viewers are seeking out a very diverse array of content, and YouTube is the only place that has all that. I mean, we got everything from the big game to surround sound content, concert, sort of the niche content that people are looking for. So it's truly one of a kind in terms of a platform that gives you everything.
I think the thing I would add to that, right, if you think about that strategy that Nicky's describing, which is sort of continuing to lean into being the place where everyone watches video by having everything all in one place and having the best viewing experience. The only way to do that is if you also, of course, include the television, right? And so I think, to your point, Mike, there was a lot of effort that went into making sure that we would be able to work well on every screen. And in this case of CTV, right, that also did include partnerships with television providers. It included certain technical innovation. It included, as Nicky mentioned, sort of having the full range of content that you'd want to see on TV and working with our partners. And what's most interesting to me is that I think we see some behavior that we expected, right? YouTube TV is growing as expected and intended, right? Over 8 million subs. I think the extraordinary growth and extension of longer form content and longer sessions from viewers on the television. I think we didn't expect, as an example, something like shorts on TV and how seriously that's taking off.
I was wondering about that. So you are seeing shorts work on the big screen.
We are, and so it's a combination, I think, of strategy and serendipity that's caused the absolute explosion of viewership and made it so that when people sit down in the living room now, right, more often than not, when they turn on TV, they're turning on YouTube, which I think at this pace and at this rate probably exceeds even our expectations.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell me that maybe, and there's such a wide range of content, but that maybe the top creators were driving more people to CTV with their quote unquote longer form stuff, and then shorts and search were lending themselves to mobile and desktop. But that's not necessarily the case. You're seeing, Nicky.
And yeah, I think that's more what we expected. I think we're seeing more of a mix. And Nicky, you probably have more details on that.
Yeah, I mean, since introducing shorts in the living room, I think we've seen that. Globally, the shorts views have grown over 100% year on year. Or that's from January to September 2023. So yeah, it was growing a lot more in the living room than expected. Now, I do think that over time we'll start to see, more predominant modes of consumption on different platforms. So we do see people consuming longer form content when they're in their living rooms than on mobile. So we do still see a little bit of a bias towards the shorter form content on mobile and longer on living room.
Yeah, and I always wonder how much of the the swiping form factor drives some of that, and if that's going to translate or not. So that'll something to watch over time. I'm wondering, maybe both of you weigh in here. Advertising wise, does CTV? It seems to be a very similar ad product experience for the most part. But have you had to develop a whole new set of ads or form factors for that screen? And does that change the way you lay that out versus the broader YouTube experience?
Well, I'd say that we started with our core, which is our in-stream ads and our video ads experience. But we see this as a platform that we're really excited to just experiment and innovate with. So there are a couple insights that are really unique to how people consume content on the big screen. For starters, we want to find ways to make our ads less interruptive and more engaging and simpler to interact with, when you're using remote control instead of, how you might interact with an ad on your phone. So we've taken our core products and really evolved them, and we're always looking for new insights, always looking for, new ways to experiment. So just to kind of mention a few of the things that we've done a little bit different on Living Room, we are moving towards fewer but longer ad breaks, so that we have less interruptions and we have a more seamless viewing experience. And this really came out of research where viewers are telling us that they prefer to see ads grouped together when they're in the big screen.
Interesting.
Yeah, we also introduced some, non-interruptive ad formats. So we've got the sponsored Zen slates on YouTube TV. And we're also experimenting with new types of interactivity. So we introduced things like pause ads, which started in the Living Room.
Right. It's interesting because YouTube inherently had more, because of the skippability factor, had more interactivity built into it, whereas the rest of television is trying to figure out, should we bring more interactivity to TV ads now that CTV is such a big distribution platform? I wonder if we're going to see a lot more interactivity, or is that not the way that people want to watch television over time? That's an open question, Tara.
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to see shifts in that behavior. And as you know, we evolved and also have ads that are not interactive, which on the television we do see is more commonplace. And as you know, one of the things advertisers care most about is being able to have a common interface across platforms, because they can't make different ads for everybody. So it'll be interesting. I think we'll continue to see them both. I do think we'll see a little bit more from the traditional players. But I think one of the things that I noticed most in terms of advertisers' reaction to our presence on CTV is the impact it has not only on how they think about innovation and ad format and results, but it's their perception of content, right? So you've been ahead of the sort of, let's call it, the industry for a while in seeing the trend that was happening on YouTube and in CTV. But you will also know then that all of us for a while, had a hard time originally getting folks who grew up in the industry to see these creators for what they were, right? They are the not so secret sauce for what is driving our number one position in streaming. And I think the presence on the big screen has helped advertisers in particular to really appreciate, right, that these are today's Hollywood moguls, right? They're the studios, they're the actor, they're the director, they're the writer, all in one. And so all of a sudden we're seeing this explosion in perception that I think, again, has caused advertisers to only double down on the importance of YouTube in the centrality of their plan.
Yeah, there's something legitimizing about it. Same content, but if you see it on that screen on a regular basis, it becomes more.
And again, I'm not sure that's true for the younger generation, but for
yes,
who are in mass buying positions, I think it's still true.
Nicky, what about, I wonder about this. You have a deep well or broad array of advertisers, I should say, between, you're trying to cater to that classic TV advertiser, direct to consumer brand, small to mid-sized business. How do you balance making all those folks happy, even in terms of products and what they want to see in terms of like controlling experiences, reach and frequency, things like that?
Yeah. So you're right. We have lots of different advertisers. We have advertisers that are running campaigns for every type of marketing objective, all the way from driving reach through to driving, clicks and conversions. So we do have something for everything, for everyone, I should say. And, we try to really keep it simple for advertisers, focus on what is their marketing objective. That's always the first question we ask. And then from there, where possible, we try to lean into our high-powered campaigns. And so if your goal is that you want to drive reach and awareness, we've got, campaigns that can do that, and they can automate it across surfaces and devices. If your goal is to, drive shopping purchases, we have a campaign for that as well. But, we also realize that people may be familiar with more traditional TV buying. So we have lots of solutions that are similar to that. We were actually, we brought back the ability to buy 30-second non-skippable ads. We've got a bunch of premium content packages in our YouTube Select lineups. And so I think we offer the same type of familiarity that buyers may be used to if they're buying on linear TV, as well as more innovative solutions for digital or social focused buyers.
And Tara, do you still get that? I would like to think that's not happening anymore. Oh, that's YouTube is UGC, it's dogs and skateboards, all that. I don't know how much of that is from your competitors just throwing that out there because they're frustrated. But I would think with the big consumption and share numbers you're seeing, you wouldn't get as much of that. But do you still fight that perception about that it's not really TV or doesn't count?
Not really. I think that is mostly an old notion. I think today I get a lot more of, okay, YouTube is clearly defining a new era of entertainment, but I'm not totally sure how to classify it. Meaning that's what the customers are saying to us,
Right.
Or our media partners. And I think that's because, right, again, the secret sauce is the creators themselves and the creator ecosystem. But part of what makes YouTube special is being able to then mix that with legacy TV. And so if you think about, for example, our NFL partnership, right, a big part of what makes that work for everyone is it's taking something that has always had and continues to have a lot of heart, like the NFL, and marries it with this new creator ecosystem. So part of the deal was creators got backstage access. They were part of the commentary. We have an NFL Creator of the Week. And the goal from the NFL standpoint was to bring in new audiences. And similarly, they return that favor for the creators themselves. And I think it's that magic of having everything that you want in one place that is driving this new era of entertainment. And you combine that with, you mentioned interactivity, right? The best possible viewing experience, which today has a little bit more interactivity in it, even on the television, right? We hear tons of feedback about multi-view, about live chat, even about just the range of formats and the quality of the recommendations. And I think it's all of those together that is what has put YouTube on the top. And we're working very hard to ensure that we continue to earn that spot every day. But it's that lack of definition that I think people still struggle with. What is TV and is YouTube the new TV? I don't really hear pushback about quality in the way I once did.
Nicky, we had mentioned shorts unexpectedly working on CTV. Is there a different pattern there? Is it very similar, like people, the algorithm figure people out in a different way in that platform? How do you think about that from a product or programmer perspective?
I think it's actually quite similar in the living room. Shorts is really good at picking up new interests and reacting pretty quickly to what you're watching. So, you can start discovering new forms of content. You kind of go through an exploration phase, and then it might react by showing you more of things that you seem to be engaging with. And so that's what the organic shorts experience looks like. And then in terms of the ads experience in shorts, we have tried to design the ad experience to feel really native and kind of seamlessly tap into that. So you see ads interspersed throughout the organic content. And it's the same type of experience, whether you're seeing that on mobile or in the living room. So we pretty recently expanded our brand ads into shorts in the living room. And they function the same in that a user can choose to engage with it. They can immediately swipe away. And you can also buy the same types of shorts lineups that you can buy on mobile. So we packaged up some of that shorts content into topics that you can buy as a lineup.
Interesting. Tara, we talked a lot about creators already. I wonder if this has sort of gone back and forth, I think, over the years. How much does YouTube want to play a role in either brokering deals with advertisers and creators, stay totally out of the way, facilitate some of the, provide resources towards them? What do you guys want to do and not do there?
Well, look, I think that continues to evolve a little bit with the market, but there are places that are obvious for us to play that play to our strengths in things, for example, like surfacing a much broader range of creators that might be relevant for a brand or might be driving impact, in delivering measurement and reporting that strengthens how people understand how brand integrations are performing on creativity and how those brand integrations exist. I think, though, we want to do that in partnership with the industry and the existing ecosystem of agencies that tend to have the expertise and the manpower for sort of working with clients and creators through those campaigns in terms of sort of the in-depth back and forth that often occurs to make those successful. So I think we very much want to be involved, and we want to do it in ways that amplify the existing ecosystem and basically just play to our strengths in targeting and reporting and surfacing exciting creators for those brands.
Nicky, we reminded ourselves you had done this show about 3 years ago talking about YouTube and advertising and shopping. This is like before we're talking about retail media in a serious way, and now things have gotten that category has grown like crazy, and everybody's pushing shoppability into almost everything. Can you maybe kind of catch us up on? It's hard probably to sum it all up, but how is shopping being integrated into YouTube advertising more these days? What's the overall plan? Do you want to be, a demand generator versus a fulfillment vehicle, if that makes sense, or both?
Yeah, I think shopping is a core part of YouTube's DNA. It's sort of the original home of the unboxing videos and the get ready with me's. And so we've got tons of shopping content, and we're seeing that continue to grow. So shoppable video views have grown, I think, 25% year on year. So I think it can be many things. I think it can be a demand generator for sure, because you've got this sort of really compelling medium of visual videos, or you can explain products and get people inspired about those products. But it could also be a fulfillment tool as well. And so we see retailers and manufacturers using YouTube across the funnel, from initially driving awareness all the way through to running on something like YouTube search as a user is actually searching for things that reviews on that product. You can drive them immediately to the website to buy. And so
are you getting pushed for? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nicky.
I'm excited about bringing more interactivity and shoppability to our various ad formats, brand ads, as well as direct response ad formats. We're also excited about scaling our affiliate program on the organic side. So creators can now tag products that are in their videos, making it really easy for viewers to shop directly from that video, whether that's a long form video, a short, or a live stream.
I think that's one of the biggest is just to add on to that, since we saw you last, right? We've seen continued growth in everything that we were doing in shoppability and ads, and sort of tapping into the viewer trust that's there for the platform. But the affiliate program now has over 300 major brands, right? Best Buy, Sephora, Walmart, Target. And that, I think, is game changing for shopping on the platform.
So how does that work for those who don't know? I'm assuming most listeners know affiliate marketing, but in this case, are purchases happening directly on YouTube or not necessarily? And what's the attribution process look like there?
Make it happen on and off platform, and it depends very much on the partner and existing services. It's a similar theory, frankly, to when you were asking me about content integration, which is we want to add to what is already a very strong existing ecosystem, leveraging what's the unique characteristics of the platform and the skill set we bring. And in this case, that is predominantly the creators themselves and the loyalty they engender, and product, the ability to create awesome experiences for viewers to make it as easy and compelling as possible for them to shop.
One thing that's come up recently that's interesting, I wrote about this a few weeks ago. There are a lot of ways into the YouTube advertising world, which presumably is a good thing. But you got direct sales, you've got select, you've got programmatic, then you've got some middlemen, like these companies that kind of help brands find specific audiences. How do you advise brands on where to start and what part of that ecosystem they should be playing in?
I think I was just starting with, what's your marketing objective? And like I said before, we have solutions across the entire funnel. We're happy to work with all sorts of different models, whether you're going through an agency or working direct with us. Our hope is that we've designed the solutions to be intuitive and accessible for every type of advertiser, so that they don't need to go through an internal team or work with another, external agency or group in order to understand what the options are. And so we hope that that's, a good starting place especially for smaller businesses. But for those that have more sophisticated needs, they may want to work with a partner.
And I think when they do, it's typically building on what Nicky said. It's often go direct in wanting to understand the unique capabilities of YouTube, and I think
Yeah.
that delivers on what Nicky described. But sometimes there are specific reasons, right? Like scale and reach across multiple platforms that third parties are incredibly well set up to help deliver against. Or, for example, we did the partnership with Fixability that allows advertisers to reach and support underrepresented creators on YouTube in ways that we are not able to do because of some of our constraints around privacy and
Interesting.
respect. So, there are a lot of distinct reasons why those partners and ecosystems exist side by side with us, and I think we support them both.
I would also add that I think that the campaign management and trafficking has gotten very, very simple, but in the creative space, that's an area where I think it's there's still a lot to explore, and people are looking for guidance on what the creative best practices are, and wanting to run lots of different experiments within their campaigns to test different creatives. So we see that as an area that a lot of advertisers are looking for partnership on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A couple more questions for me before I let you both go. Karen, maybe catch us up if you could on. It struck a lot of people the big numbers that you released. I believe this is earlier this year on YouTube TV. It's now, I think, among the biggest cable streamers in the country.
Yeah.
Anything going on there? Advertising, I think, gets underplayed there or overlooked, perhaps. Any different experiments in terms of formats with linear television, or is that still a ways away?
I think, and Nicky, you can also jump in here because I know you've got stuff coming down the pike. It's always sort of even more current than what I have. I think what we're most excited about with YouTube TV is 8 million subs this year, far exceeds, I think, what anyone thought that we would do. We're excited about the breadth of content on the platform. We've got over 100 live channels now, plus, I referenced earlier some of those signature features like multi-view and key plays. A lot of where those get showcased first are in places like YouTube TV and sports and news, etc.
Sure.
And I think we think about it as one of our core elements of continuing to build out the modern version of TV, where people can get everything from sports to movies to creator content to whatever it is that they want, all in one place without needing to jump app to app. Because advertisers today often sort of look at that portion of the ecosystem as most comparable to what they do elsewhere. Their ask is typically in that particular space for more of the ad formats that are similar to what they do elsewhere. But they've also been excited about some of the builds that we've done, like Nicky mentioned, on some of those interactive pieces that essentially overlay against their 30-second buy.
But it sounds like, for the most part, we've all talked about this maybe this world where we're going to have dynamic ad insertion in every single TV ad break, and across the country you're getting 5 zillion different ads. It doesn't sound like that's realistic or even what brands are ready for right now. I don't know if either of you have thoughts on that.
Well, it's funny, right? Because you and I have been doing this a long time, even before I got to Google and YouTube, right? That was the visible world dream.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is the technology's been there for a long time. I think, to your point, the business capability, the business interest, the business need at that level, I think, may not have been strong enough to sort of overcome what seems to be, I think, a parallel path that has superseded, which is some of what we do across all of YouTube, right? In terms of targeting based on interest and interactivity and sort of all of the things that we do, that I think you'll see start to extend across all sorts of linear formats, including ours. But I don't know that it will be the way that you described, which I think was the original vision. Way back in the day.
And I guess last one for me, I don't know how much you can share about Sunday Ticket. That was a huge move when YouTube got into space. What was year one like? And was there anything the marketers should know about that going into the upcoming season?
Yeah, listen, I think we're thrilled with how it went. I think the NFL is very pleased with how it went. And, it's funny because we call it Sunday Ticket, but the real opportunity with YouTube for both fans and creators and advertisers is really Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
These are the experiences that drive the engagement in the moment and do it sort of 24/7, 7 days a week. And so we attribute a lot of the success and growth of YouTube TV to that partnership. We've seen expansion of viewership on a lot of our creators who are involved in their programs. We've seen expansion into other parts of YouTube. And similarly, the NFL tells us, right, they are seeing new and more diverse audiences, which is a big part of their goal. So I think we're pretty pleased with year one and gearing up for year two. So I assume you're coming to Brandcast, and I'd say stay tuned.
Oh, interesting. Building some intrigue at the close of this podcast. Very clever. Nicky, Tara, awesome conversation. Thanks so much for your time here.
Thanks so much for having us. It's always good to see you.
Yeah.